You know that feeling?
Yeah.
When something really, really matters to you, something you genuinely believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it actually comes time to maybe share it with someone else,
Yeah.
you just hit a wall.
Yeah, like this internal conflict kicks in.
Exactly.
Huh.
And, well, often the keep quiet side wins out.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're diving deep into that exact thing. Like, why does that hesitation happen?
Yeah.
And more importantly, how can we actually move past it?
Right. And we've been looking at some really practical material on this, a kind of guide focused on outreach, on connecting with people about your beliefs.
Yeah, and our mission for this deep dive really is to pull out those first concrete steps, things you can actually do to start sharing what you believe confidently, right there in your own world, your own circle.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How often the biggest hurdles aren't about the belief itself. It's more practical stuff.
Right, like logistics almost.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. And the material we're digging into, it really focuses on those initial blocks. And it seems to boil down to three sort of fundamental questions: the why, the whom, and the how.
Okay, the why. That sounds straightforward, doesn't it? I mean, if you believe something, surely that's enough reason to share.
Well, yes and no. This guide we're looking at, it really stresses that there's a step beyond just holding the belief. It calls it casting vision.
Casting vision, okay.
Yeah, it's about really understanding and being able to talk about your deeper motivation, especially if you're someone who already has strong convictions.
So it's like having a great product, but not knowing how to explain why anyone needs it.
That's a good way to put it. And the source uses a well-known example to illustrate this idea of a significant call to action, the Great Commission.
Ah, okay, Matthew 28.
Exactly. And it highlights three core ideas from that. First, the emphasis is on going, actively reaching out, not just waiting for people to show up.
Right, proactive.
Second, it's about sharing with everybody, not trying to prejudge who might be interested or not.
Okay, broad scope.
And the third part, which is really interesting, is about making trainers, not just, say, church members, so equipping others to then go and share themselves.
Ah, that multiplication idea, that's powerful.
It is. And the source tells this really compelling story about the Aina tribe, an isolated group.
I remember reading about this.
Yeah, so decades after first contact, they found this small group of believers. And when these believers really grasped this concept, this responsibility to share, they were just, floored. They realized they were the connection for everyone else in the surrounding valley.
Wow, that must have been a huge moment, a real sense of shared purpose.
Absolutely. A profound conviction. But, and here's the kicker.
Oh.
The story takes a turn. It really highlights this point. Conviction doesn't automatically equal obedience or action.
What happened?
Well, when the trainers went back later to help them make a plan, figure out the how, the Ainu group, despite that initial fire, they backed down. Why?
Fear. Fear of, persecution, negative consequences.
That's relatable, unfortunately. A really crucial insight, though. They got the why, intellectually, emotionally, but the doing part hit a barrier.
Exactly. And the takeaway the source emphasizes, look, you can cast the most compelling vision, and still not everyone will jump on board immediately. But you can be certain no one will act if you don't cast that vision in the first place.
Makes sense. You have to at least put it out there.
Which leads us perfectly into the second big reason people hesitate. The who.
Right. Who do I even talk to? It can feel overwhelming, like, where do you even start?
Totally. And this is where the guide gets super practical. It introduces this idea of creating a name list.
Okay, a name list. Tell me more. It's not just random names, I assume.
No, it's very specific. It's about identifying your oikos.
Oikos.
Yeah, it's a Greek word. Basically means your household, your sphere of influence. So your family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, even, the person you buy coffee from every morning, your network.
Got it. Your everyday world. Exactly. And the process it lays out is pretty intentional. First step, take some actual time to pray, to reflect. Ask for clarity on who in your oikos might not share your beliefs.
So it starts with listening, essentially.
Right. Then the practical part, actually write down their names. Or if you don't know a name, maybe a description. Guy I see at the dog park. Check out lady at the store. The key is being thorough, taking the time.
Okay, so you'd have this list. Then what?
Then you pray over that list again, this time specifically asking for guidance on who to approach first. The suggestion is to circle maybe 5 names that stand out.
5. Okay. Doesn't matter which 5.
Well, it encourages maybe starting with people you sense might be more receptive, warmer contacts, but
Right.
also says don't limit yourself to that. Be open.
So it moves from this big, abstract idea of sharing
Yeah.
to a concrete list of actual people. That feels much more manageable.
It really does. And to hammer home the potential impact of this, of reaching your immediate circle, the source includes these 2 short, punchy stories under the heading, Family Saved at Midnight.
Okay, that title grabs your attention. What are they?
Well, one is pretty famous. The Philippian jailer, remember? After this huge, life-changing event.
Like the earthquake, the prison doors opening.
Yeah. He doesn't wait. Middle of the night, he wakes up his entire household to share what happened, what he now believes. There's this real urgency.
No delay?
None. And the other story is incredibly moving. It's about a Chinese-American doctor, very successful, top of his field.
Okay.
And he gets this devastating cancer diagnosis. Facing his own mortality, it hits him. He's never really shared his deepest faith with his own family.
Oh, wow.
So again, middle of the night, he seeks spiritual guidance, rediscovers his faith, and then immediately goes and wakes up his wife, his daughters, and shares everything. And they all embrace it. Right there, that night, his whole family. And then, the story goes, after they all prayed together, later medical tests showed the cancer was gone.
That's incredible. Just incredible.
It is. And the source really flags that sense of urgency in both stories. The feeling that when you truly believe something is life-changing, you don't just sit on it. Delay could mean a missed chance.
Powerful stuff. Okay, so we have the why, the vision, and the whom, the nameless, the oikos. That brings us to the third hurdle, right? The how.
Exactly. The how. Because even if you know why you want to share and who you might talk to, you can still get stuck on, well, how do I actually start that conversation? Or what do I even say?
Yeah, that feels like a big one. Awkward transition, stumbling over words.
Right. So the guide breaks the how down into 2 key parts. A simple bridge and a clear gospel presentation.
A bridge. Okay, like connecting where they are to the topic.
Precisely. It's a way to naturally, smoothly move into spiritual things so it doesn't feel, forced or just dropped in out of nowhere.
Makes sense. What kind of bridge are we talking about?
One really effective one the source suggests is using a short personal testimony, like 1 to 3 minutes long.
Your own story.
Your own story. It's relatable. It's personal. It's not immediately launching into doctrine. It's just sharing your experience.
How do you structure that? So it stays brief, but effective.
It gives a really simple framework, basically. 1, what was your life like before you came to believe this? 2, how did you come to believe it? And 3, how has life been different since?
Before, how, since. Okay.
And it even offers an alternative. If maybe you don't have a big conversion story, maybe you grew up with it, then it's 1, talk about a specific problem or struggle you faced. 2, explain how your faith or belief helped you through that. And 3, describe the positive outcome or victory you experienced.
Problem, change, victory. Got it. So you have these frameworks.
Yes. And then crucially, it emphasizes practice. Like, actually write it out. Read it aloud. Does it sound like you?
Oh, that's important. Not sounding like you're reading a script.
Right. And then practice it with someone else. Get feedback. Are you using jargon? Is it clear? Is it concise?
So you refine it.
You refine it. And the key point here is the testimony itself, your story. That's not the gospel message. It's the bridge to potentially sharing that message. It opens the door.
Okay, good distinction. The bridge leads somewhere, which is the second part of the how, right? The gospel presentation.
Exactly. Once you've maybe opened the door with your story, you need a clear, simple way to explain the core of your belief.
And simple is key, I guess.
Absolutely. The source stresses it needs to be easy to understand, easy for you to remember, and importantly, easy for someone else to learn and potentially share later, transferable.
Right. Back to that multiplication idea.
Now, it does mention that specific methods vary, different contexts might need different approaches, and there are other resources with options. But the principle is that core message needs to be clear and shareable.
And I assume practice is important here too.
Definitely. Just like the testimony, practice it, maybe in pairs, get feedback, make sure it's accurate, clear, and that you feel confident sharing it.
And equipping people too.
Yes, good point. Making sure people have any simple tools they might need, like maybe a small booklet or tract, if that's appropriate. And encouraging prayer for the specific people on their list they plan to talk to.
It connects action with the message, like that verse reference, Luke 10:9,
Yeah.
about healing the sick and then telling them the kingdom is near.
Exactly. Meeting needs and sharing the message often go hand in hand.
Okay, so this whole process, vision, list, bridge, message, it's not just about one person sharing one time, is it?
Not at all. The bigger picture, the real goal here is multiplication. So the source really emphasizes this crucial next step, encouraging someone who newly believes to immediately start thinking about their oikos, their own circle.
Wow, immediately.
Yeah, start the process again right away. Share their own story. Share the simple message they just learned. It's about empowering new believers to become sharers from day one.
That feels fast,
Ah.
but I could see how it could lead to rapid growth.
It does. There's this principle mentioned, sometimes called T4T, training for trainers.
Yeah.
The idea is that the person who just shared encourages the new believer to meet separately with the people they want to share with, rather than always bringing them back to the original trainer or group.
So it decentralizes quickly, builds confidence in the new person.
Exactly. It fosters ownership and speeds things up. There's even this quite direct phrase the material uses.
Yeah.
Don't ask, just tell.
Uh-huh. Okay. What's the story behind that?
It relates to an analogy, something about yin having one egg or two.
Yeah.
The point being, if you have something valuable, something life-giving, you share it readily, confidently. Don't overthink it, just offer it.
I like that. Just share what you have.
Yeah, and then it wraps up this whole section with a really practical call. Set actual goals. Like, I'm going to try and connect with these 2 people from my list this week.
Making it concrete again.
And praying for each other, for boldness, for the right words, for God's guidance. It's presented as this ongoing thing, this recommissioning almost, and the importance of leading by example, doing it yourself.
Okay, so bringing this all together then, from our deep dive today, it seems like getting past that initial hesitation really comes down to tackling these 3 things head on.
Yeah, it feels like it. First, really getting clear on your why, casting that vision for yourself and potentially others.
Then moving from vague intention to specific action by identifying whom, creating that name list from your oikos, your circle.
Right. And third, equipping yourself with a simple, practiced how, having that personal story, that bridge, ready, and a clear, simple way to share the core message itself.
It really breaks it down, makes it seem less daunting.
I think so too. What's really striking is how actionable it all is. It's not just theory. It gives you actual steps you can take.
You know, often the biggest hurdle is just starting, isn't it? Figuring out that very first step. And this seems to provide a really clear path for that.
Agreed. It's a practical way forward.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah.
As you're hearing this, maybe just take a second right now. Think about your own oikos who comes to mind. Maybe even, grab a napkin or your phone notes, jot down 1 or 2 names. You never know where that first small step might lead.
Good challenge.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.